We will instead play a league with this beautiful deck that has been annoying for Titan players for a time already, for some time already. So, Simic Ritual with Quantum Riddlers. Birthing Ritual, the cantrip monsters, 4 Oculuses, 4 Oracles, Harbingers, Endurance, Shardless Agent for Value, Subtlety. That's all that we have in the deck, and in the sideboard we have more counter spells against blue decks, more counter spells against colorless decks, more counter spells against non-creature spells, and similar. Play the new version of Essence Flux, please. This is already old. Link. This happened 2 days ago. We could replace Shardless Agent with Essence Flux, maybe. That does sound better, honestly. Essence Flux. Well, that's basically the difference. Sure, Shardless Agent looks pretty bad. It's 3 mana. Essence Flux is Subtlety. I mean, yeah, it's just like the literal only change was to replace the agents with the flux. Alright, so now we also have a scam aspect in the deck. Culling Ritual actually smart as well. We have a black splash. One Watery Grave, 1 Undercity Sewers. Alright, we can do that. Unfortunately, no spirits for Essence Flux in the deck, but Undercity Sewers, okay. Yeah, all spirited companions, not a single spirit. Kind of fucked up if you think about it, so better not think about it too much. Only 1 breeding pool. Guess they just have an extra fetch. Makes sense. Don't really need 2 breeding pools. Collector Ouphe. That seems not bad. The main deck endurance is a bit puzzling indeed. Let's have 1 main deck endurance for good luck. For when we play against Sodek and he dredges. Alright, now we are ready to play. This is just too weak. This is a 1-lander. Maybe it's worth keeping, because I will not let the game bully me, and if I start to mooling to 5, That's gonna just be not good, so let's just keep and hope to draw fetchland my first draw step. Back from the Maldives, what's up? Up. The ceiling. Just need a green source. Indeed. A green source would be pretty good. Could it ever be worth to keep Riddler as another cantrip over Oculus in this hand? Well, I think you could keep Riddler over a Coiling Oracle. Oh no, Cavern of Souls, my greatest enemy. But I think Oculus stays. I want to be able to actually win once I get unmana screwed. So, I don't think so. I don't think I would want to put back Oculus. Watery Grave. Giga punished for splashing black and for not keeping the Rizzler to cycle into my third land. What did they grab with the Malevolent Rumble? They took Eldrazi Temple. Temple, funny word. Like in the banger Polish song, I tried to mix beer with iced tea yesterday and it was okay. I'm glad you liked it. It's supposed to be a very summery drink. Which I guess summer is ending, but you can still just make your own rules. Oh no, it's Vexing Wobble, a card I will have trouble defeating. I accept that villain. At least opponent won't know how to sideboard. True. Alright, is Culling Ritual any good against my opponent's deck? I guess so. Sweeps all the little shits. Sounds pretty good actually. Consign for Emrakul, Culling Ritual for the little ones. Harbinger can mana screw them, but they are playing mono green. I think it should be cut in the matchup. Force of Vigor, probably better than for 4 mana than for 3. Birthing Ritual plus Culling Ritual is kind of not a combo, but it does let my deck be an 8 ritual deck, sort of. Maybe I want Endurances to clear the graveyard for Emrakul and cut some of the either flares, because those decks are bobble heavy and they have Cavern of Souls, or Subtlety, or both. Can bring the Collector Ouphe as well, really bad non-bow with Culling Ritual. Harbinger is good, they use Sagas, Temples and Cavern. Well, I don't know if that makes it good actually, is my worry. Probably cutting that much on pitch spells is pretty unwise. I think Flare might be just bad though. Subtlety at least has some more game. It's worse against Kozilek's command. Dobra, random sideboarding, let's go. Don't know what to do, let's start trimming. They struggle to make colors, yeah, I guess. I just never assume that my opponent will get mana screwed from my Harbinger. But of course it will sometimes. One lander again. This time I will not fall for that. I will not let the game fool me for the second time. This hand has a plan. Turn 1, pass. Turn 2, pass. Turn 3. Quantum Riddler, Essence Flux. Then if I don't die, Culling Ritual will wreck my opponent. Something to play. I guess I can evolve the Riddler into... I don't know. I don't know. We can get Oculus with that. Would be nice. Although Riddler is still probably plenty strong. I think I'm just supposed to graveyard it. It doesn't make sense in my hand. Dobra, let's hope that my opponent didn't play the turn 1 Saga in order to fetch the turn 3 Blade to kill me. But instead they just did it for the lulz. That's concerning. I am concerned, chat. But maybe they don't have a payoff for infinite mana. Okay, we have Flare, which doesn't do anything, but we do have it. Holy shit, Essence Flux. That's honestly the most sensible reaction you could have. Well, maybe they don't have a land, and they don't have a payoff spell. So their hand is maybe just 3 more Brute Scales and 3 more Blades. That's my hope. Simic Ritual, Secretly Shutai, no plus 1 byczku. Yeah, that's because you've been conditioned to just assume that Ephemerate is a good card. It also has the Modern Horizons symbol, which comes with a solid amount of authority. Well, maybe their hand is just lands. Okay, Brute Scale. But I have the exact same feeling. Having Ephemerate in my hand just feels... Ephemerate feels just proper, and Essence Flux... not good somehow. Alright. So Brute Scale is a deck that's... Well, the Brute Scale combo is pretty bad against every deck, except for against the deck which is all pitch spells and no removal. Because the combo is pretty good against pitch counters and pretty bad against just Lightning Bolt. Actually, true. And my draws were pretty bad as well. And my sideboarding was random, so... Of course, we did badly, but we will learn. How many decks play Bolt nowadays even? Well, Bolt, Discharge, whatnot. Zolidud. Another Eldrazi deck. Herald resolves, I guess. I could Subtlety Flux. That sounds bad. Ah, it is Watery Grave. It's not Undercity Sewers. Punishment for playing with funky artworks. In Liverpool, I won with Simic Ritual against Broadskill that had turn 1 bubble in both games. It's possible, but not an easy matchup. Exactly. That's what I've been saying. After observing the league meta, I can see why Consign to Memory is the most popular card in Modern. I agree with you. Becomes clear pretty quickly. The league gamers just have the weird affinity towards Sire of 7 Deaths, and they just play that card all the time. Oh, should I play the Coatl? Should I play the Ritual? Should I play the Coatl's Flux it? So many options. I probably want to Subtlety, so probably I could Subtlety Flux. Which means that maybe I can just play the Ritual, Subtlety Flux, that puts only one card into my graveyard, which means I don't Oculus next turn. How can we Oculus next turn? Ice-Fang, Champ, Oculus, Fetch. I guess Fetch is +2 cards alone. Wait, wasn't Liverpool a standard tournament? Why did you play that matchup? Maybe we should Subtlety last turn and Ritual for Flood Mage. Well, just Ritual for any card in your deck, easy. But makes sense, yeah, perhaps. That doesn't sound bad. I guess if we do this, then I will be unlikely to cast Oculus next turn, but if I draw a fetch I can, and if I can also evolve the Solitude into... Yeah, makes sense. Looking at some MTG Goldfish data, Solitude is the 6th most played card, Bolt 14th, Dismember 16th. This feels a decent bit lower than a year or two ago. Yeah, probably. It's like Solitude cut down into the meta share of actual removal spells. I mean, it's also a removal spell, there is nothing non-legit about Solitude. But yeah, the nice thing here is that Subtlety can evolve into a Riddler. Unless they have something like Dismember. But in that case, tough luck. Nime waifu, pies dziewczyna, no. Tak się zaczyna. No targets. And now we will look 7 for Oculus, Riddler, Harbinger. Good options. Essence Flux is interesting. It would be so cool to have 2 targets for sub-blink lines. We're just seeing play in Mordex and Lightning Bolt. It's just that Bolt is washed because it's slightly worse than Discharge. We have both Riddler and Oichulus. That means I can't Flux, but... Well, what if I get the Riddler and blink it for +2? And we have a 4/6 monster, which should be good against my opponent's deck. And push comes to shove, we can Flare of Daniel, the Riddler. Okay. I mean, I guess I have no 1-drops in the deck, so might as well play it for 0 if you just want to get the mana. I'm not sure they do. Maybe they want to counter the flares. You never know. So I guess I'm not holding up a flare, although I could actually sack the Riddler if push comes to shove. Will they play Kozilek's Commando? I guess I will. How good is Harbinger here? No forest, but also not needed. With a Flash Striker, maybe not that good, is the answer. Oh, I'm hacking Manifesting Dread. Harbinger would be nice. Nice, sure. We'll be able to cast that. What's my favorite magic card slash mechanic and why is it Manifest Dread? I just like the idea of hiding something and then going pow. It's actually this the entire time. Can I attack? Why don't Canada the Devourer if it gets exiled at trigger anyways? It's a good question. A really good question even. Do you track order of manifest in the Canning Cube? It's up to the manifester. I'm destroying it from the inside, don't worry. Already made a few bot plays just for the chat. Dismember. Could dismember the Flash Raker. Maybe you should do it immediately. Or maybe not. You want to see bound generic blink now? Well, what are the OP green cards? I guess green has been absent from those decks. As green is a horrible color in the game of Magic the Gathering, typically. Soporific Ritual is the so-called good card. Well, that's the deck then, right? Blue-green blink. Coiling Oracle. King Uro soon. Chad, do you really believe there are gonna be changes in the Modern on Monday? It's clear that it's just solely a Modern patch. Not Modern patch, Standard patch. That they've been waiting to roll out for way too long. They might unban the worst card you've ever seen. I think they unban when things are dire. It's been less than a year since they unbanned Moxopal. You just get to chill and click no changes. Give us show, let's hacking go. Od razu Linebreaker. O, to jest jakiś dobry potwór. I didn't understand that blog. I was just insulting my opponent like I had the lethal. On the backswing they have no cards, so I just get to triple champ block for no reason. Oh, okay, funny. That's the reaction I was looking for. Alright, what is bad? Endurance seems pretty bad. Dismember seems pretty alright. Felt like you missed a lot being there. Yeah, I was actually acutely aware of the Lord. I just wasn't. I just didn't care for my manifests. I know what you can do. Win a challenge with Simic Ritual without Harbingers. Maybe. And flares. Alright, any of my cards are bad. You have to cut randomly. They will have Cavern of Souls likely. Coiling Oracle is giga shit, and sometimes they have Cavern of Souls. Okay. It's good. Chad, yesterday I came back home and a horrible surprise awaited me. Do you want to know what the surprise was? Or maybe you can take a guess. No milk, but guess. It was your birthday? No, it is in May. Cat poo, is it Buka related? No, it is not. Cat poo, honestly close. Pierogi overcooked. Why would I leave the house with pierogis on? That would be unsafe. Shit on floor, dog poo on carpet. Yeah. Not on carpet, on the sofa. I entered the premises and I get in and I take a deep sniff and I think to myself, before I left, I quickly mopped the floors. Was the mop stinky? Because it smells like piss and shit in here. Sometimes that happens. Like I have an automatic mop and it has rollers, and if you actually use unwashed rollers, you make your house stink more than it did before, because instead of washing the floors, you actually just spread a layer of piss perfume on it. So I was worried that that happened, but then I get to the living room and Teos is happily sitting on the couch. And on the couch were two blankets. And all of them were covered in dog excrement, as well as the sofa itself, and dog pee. That Flare of Denial looks nice, yeah. Against Cavern on Eldrazi. So blanket saved the day. No. On top of the sofa being dirty, the blankets were also dirty, so they had to be washed as well. And on top of that, little Teos is actually a fan of the flavor, which I think is pretty common for golden retrievers, from what I gathered, to enjoy eating poop. So he made even more of a mess and spread it all over the sofa. So it was rough, chat. Cigarettes? There aren't many cigarettes on the ground. The Dismember? But he does eat a lot of leaves and similar. Wow, Dismember, Calling Oracle. Bro, this Calling Oracle is too much, man. We have to get rid of it. Maybe I'll just play the Ritual. Next turn we can Riddler and evolve into something nice. So yeah, he does eat a lot. He does pick up a lot of trash outside and tries to eat it. He also eats cats. Like, he also eats out of the cat's litter box. Consign a trigger. We cut the Shardless Agent, so can't happen. Well, actually, let's counter the trigger. Seems just better. So yesterday's events, I think Theo just hasn't been feeling good because like the reason he shot himself was because he was eating out of the cat's litter box first. So it's just a chain perpetuum mobile type deal. Chain of events. Vicious cycle. That's what I was wanting to say. Quantum Riddler or Harbinger? I should have fetched a forest before looking for Harbinger. I guess we're just gonna get the Riddler then. Is it possible to prevent that from happening ever again? I hope so. So yesterday's events prompted me to immediately acquire 2 objects. Let's keep. My spaniel used to eat gravel when she was younger. Yeah. My dog used to do the same and even created a hole in the wall. That's what I'm afraid of. One day I come out of the bedroom into the living room where he has his spot where he bores into the wall, and I will just feel cold around my ankles. And I'll be like, huh? Was sure that the window was closed. And it will just turn out that he has pierced the wall fully. What 2 objects I got? Yes, so yesterday's event prompted me to perform instant act of internet shopping, and the first object was baby gate for the cat's room so that I can render it inaccessible for the animal so that he cannot eat shit in the evening. And the second is a car share sofa slash, I don't know how they are called in English, but like the deep vacuum cleaners that you can use on tapestry. Is tapestry the word I'm thinking of, or upholstery? It's the word. Upholstery. Tak, upholstery. To drain most of his piss out of the... This doesn't seem like a great matchup. Out of the sofa. So yeah, dog will be prevented from having its usual dessert of cat poop every day. As things have gone too far. Mox siedzi. So how do I beat constructs this game is a question on my mind, and the answer is I dismember 1 and then I shit my pants, probably. Drugstores sometimes rent out deep fabric cleaners for free and you only have to buy the liquids for the cleaning. I've never heard of such a deal. That's actually nice. So I guess I'll just subtlety, maybe surveillant. That doesn't sound like a thing that would happen in Poland. Why this betrayal is because the prelim didn't fire. Let's keep another sub. If they try the same trick with Kappa Cannoneer again. Czy ja tutaj nie stargetowałem? No nie udało się stargetować. No to let's just leave this game. Shit. I was placing the evoke trigger and then... Yeah. Well, then I placed the second one. I was like, yeah, I placed the one that already has to target, that has to target, right? I guess that's because when there's a spell on the stack, you don't have to choose a target with Subtlety, and So I assume the evoke trigger was the other trigger, and it just auto-targeted the Kappa Cannoneer. So I thought the second trigger I was putting on the stack was the evoke one. Alright, Culling Ritual in Force of Vigor, in Harbinger, seems bad. Mystical Dispute counters Cannoneer. Cannoneer seems like a problem. So my Dispute and Culling Ritual is a combo. Together it deals with everything. Endurance, but we got Ouphe, I guess. And then we have to cut 5 cards, which is challenging. We'll cut 2 Coiling Oracles, 1 Essence Flux, 1 Subtlety, and submit. Flux seems bad. Well, that just in general maybe. But it's combos with my creature. I don't know if you understand that. Do people ever play just Neoform plus Birthing Ritual below 3 CMC then hope to shardless into Omnav or something? It sounds like pretty bad payoff for a pretty big deck constraint, so I don't think I have seen that. But yeah, nonetheless, even if it is possible to rent out the Deep Fabric Cleaner for free, it's too late. I have bought one yesterday, so now, well, maybe now I can rent it to other people. I can become the renter or rentee. Pinnacle Emissary. Do I want a basic Island? Think so. Like the other option is Breeding Pool, which why? This should prevent my opponent from being able to summon the barrage of top tiers. And now I get to play a Birthing Ritual. And I have no play for the next turn, so I need to draw something good. Well, that's good. That is actually really good. Essence Flux seems bad. So we're gonna look first. So we can just Riddler into Riddler to draw a card. And we have the option of blinking. Which means next turn I can Verdant Catacombs for a Survival land and Oculus. Does opponent have some sort of an interaction card that would surprise me? Nope. We have Hedge Maze in the deck still. I think we can keep our monsters. 9 flying power seems pretty hard to top. So show me what you've got, opponent. Construct. Shadow Spear. Land, Mox, Equip. 6 power. Monka. O Jezu, ale wyjebało tutaj potworów. We could trade. Or we could not trade. I want to draw Culling Ritual. In order to draw Culling Ritual, it is important to survive. I have no place next turn. If I take 7 now, it's going to be hard to survive next turn. I will not raise my opponent because they are at 22. If I trade, I am 3 cards away from the new Oichulus, which seems tough to get to. But I think this plays better into the plan of drawing a Culling Ritual. Rocking this business. Or even Force of Vigor. Jorky. So I guess we're gonna cycle this Riddler into literally any cantripping monsters to have more looks at Culling Ritual. Boseiju. Culling Ritual. Could destroy the Shadow Spear, could destroy the Saga, could destroy a construct that's equipped and attacking this turn. I think I will evolve. We can also get an Ice-Fang Coatl, which actually trades. That sounds pretty good, frankly. I'm still Journey from the block. Rocking this business. Stay real. To me it is like breathing. You can Essence Flux a manifest from Abhorrent Oculus, so you can actually perform the Cube special move. Fire and War. So I looked at top, bottom 12, and I have 2 rituals there. Next turn I look at 14. Might be a bit challenging to time the reshuffle in the best possible way, really. So here I could hit the Shadow Spear or the Construct. Seems like the Shadow Spear is actually the biggest problem. Fire and War. With the 2 rituals and manifest from Oichulus, it's gonna be actually pretty easy to jump. It's just gonna be one big construct and a Memnite. No Kappa inside just yet. Yay. We're using up the mana we gave them. So when to shuffle? I don't know. Let's play a fetch and decide later. We're not looking at the... So you always look. But I'm not evolving anything. Should I sack an Oculus for an Oculus? Not really, doesn't really accomplish anything, and I don't know the amount of Oculuses in my deck. Probably doesn't matter, but it might. Alright, so now we have Culling Rituals in bottom 21. So we can manifest, and we know it's not gonna be a ritual at the very least. And then shuffle. Or Subtlety. That's a nice one to have access to with Essence Flux. Shuffle now to try and hit the Ouphe. That's interesting, actually. I think worse, because I'm more likely to hit a ritual. That sounds bad. Culling Ritual. I mean, it's not like I need to draw it anymore, maybe. Like I'm not in panic mode anymore, but... Dawaj Capiszona. O kurwa, Blood Moon. This is interesting. I guess it does cut me off of the black cards. But I guess they can't Saga anymore, so this doesn't seem too bad. I certainly did not tap around Blood Moon though. So if my opponent plays a Capiszon now, I will be sad. O, ale dewastacja tutaj, kurwa. Capiszon jebany. Can't hit it with the subtlety. Tragic. Guess just win with flyers. I'll have 2 Oculus. Dobra, let's get the Riddler, draw, and then evolve it into Oculus. Or not. WTF? That's still fine because we still have lethal damage in the so-called air, but I am baffled by the unluckiness of this event. Jaka nazwa lepsza? Gówno czy gówno? Gówno mi się podoba. But it's uncommon for players to refer to Simic as GU more. They more often will say UG if they use the letters. Gówno. It's going fine. We're kind of doing powerful things. Another Capiszon. Monka. They also need to defeat my flyers, so I'm waiting for my opponent to show me a flyer answer. Boots would also be Monka? Not at all, right? I can jump and just take 2 Capiszons attacking me? Unless I miscount their size. 6, 11, 12, 13, 14. No, that seems fine. How does this deck win if I cast Lost Legacy and name Abhorrent Oculus? Wins with Quantum Riddler then. Alright, so on the draw, let's have all the answers possible to Capiszon, because Capiszon seems like trouble. Essence Flux? I don't know. Didn't seem great. This game didn't seem bad either. Dismember, I'm not sure if it's actually any good. Maybe we should skip it. Because what are we meaningfully killing? Not much. No, ale nie mogę zagrać, że będę lepiej grał. Bo tak gram, jak gram, no. Chłopie. Constructs, Pinnacles. I mean, they play a turn 1, it doesn't seem great. Collector Ouphe is odd with Culling Ritual, and I guess the big issue is the Constructs and Capiszon. Maybe top tier, so Ouphe in this deck seems actually not great. TBH. Dobra, dajemy submita. Pretty reliant on the Culling Ritual. Before that we have Dispute. We don't have the mana for the ritual. I would need to draw a land. I can answer Capiszon with Dispute and everything else with Ritual though. But if my opponent moons, I feel like maybe we can try to draw a better hand. Which this one I'm not quite sure it is better, but... Two more artifacts, turn one Capuchon, let's go. Oh, Emery. We got our answer. What are we dismembering? Well, we are not anymore because I got Dismember, but holy shit. We did not see Emery earlier. Peczek. No, niedobrze, niedobrze. Otawara. Twoja stara. Some of them have Emery in the sideboard for the grindy matchups. Yeah, they do, that's true. I just never played a grindy deck before, so I didn't know. But I've seen that before for sure. Didn't seem like opponent's deck plays weapons manufacturing, or at least they never drew it. So they card they still play, or have they skipped? Quantum Riddler. I play Coiling Oracle and I put Island into play. Now we can Flux. Block Flux. Awesome. Well, awesome. Cool. Nice. If I draw a Culling Ritual, we actually are in the game, perhaps. Opponent actually making a mistake here. Because you don't need to make the construct with the Saga on 3 when you also have a Saga on 2. If you're tapping the Saga on 2, like you actually get to float a mana and then search for the card and see maybe if your opponent reacts to that. And then you use the Elder Saga to make a construct. So we can see that they are a Giga Newbie check. Assuredly has to be opponent's first affinity match ever. No other explanation. Culling Ritual was giga good. Yeah, but like I ramped with the Oracle, I wouldn't have had the Ritual mana yet, so... The first hand actually would not be too great. Claws of Dicks. Capichon, no nie. Can try to draw a sub, or I can try to... się zabić kurwa chyba, bo to inna opcja. Let's save 6 life, but we don't really have a solution to the Capichon, so like... How do we solve it? I have one Force of Vigor. Why are you trying out a different deck? Kurwa, no dla jajec se próbuję deczka nowego, ziomeczku. We're just playing a new deck. It's chill. Subtlety. Okay. It's good, chat, don't worry. Dobra. No nie jest zły ten rytuał wciąż, nie? Too bad I can't really spend the mana on much. 7 mana. Sadly, I can't answer you, or I might risk the timeout hammer. You risked. Ice-Fang can block the Capichon if they don't have an artifact, for example, through Emery. Why would they have an artifact through Emery? Or Saga? I think the affinity plan just needs a few solutions to a Capichon that has resolved. So basically just Force of Vigor. And then it would be good. But as is, kind of, we have a pretty glaring and gaping hole for Capichon to fill. Do I like this deck? No. Also Boseiju, yes. Boseiju 6 mana answer to Kappa. Awesome, awesome. Also Vigor costs 4 mana, so actually castable potentially. Soul Shatter. Dobra, już tam nie pierdolcie o jakichś głupich kartach. Wiemy, czym trzeba grać. Jest good. Co ja mogę dobrać? Nie wiem, nic, kurwa, nie mogę dobrać, więc stopuję za dużego Sphinxika. Essence Flux, dobrze. Maybe they have no artifact. Well, they choose Pineapple Emissary, which you have to have 3 mana to recast from your graveyard, so they actually might not have an artifact. I mean, like, they wouldn't try to do that otherwise, so... Dobra, dispute this. And somehow no artifacts. Quick question, is opponent trolling? Is opponent trolling? What makes you think so? So if I upkeep Blink, I draw 2. Otherwise, I draw 1 on my draw step, but if I play land and then I cast Flux, I draw 2 anyway, so I guess there's no benefit to doing that in the upkeep. Oj, Chulus, dobra. What did Teosh do this time? Nothing, he's fine. Just that Julia came back from work. Kurwa, dobra. Pizda ojca kwantowym. Then I draw Force of Vigor and a green card and I win, right? Well, opponent did that, they just seemingly didn't understand the interaction. Which format are we mutating in? This seems like a keep. No black-green land, so I guess I'll get a Hedge Maze. Or a Forest. It's... So I guess... it will be a problem? Guess I'll play the Coatl first. It doesn't, like, I get 1 more damage that way. Doesn't matter much though. Can also flare this if I flare it. I want to do it, but fortunately I didn't, because making that choice would be taxing. Oh, no final draw. Flare. Flare is neat, but I kinda need my creature. No dobrze. Okay. Drew a new one. That's a good draw as well. Is there any 2-for-1 creature? Well, Coiling Oracle and Ice-Fang Coatl, for example. Making, like, some Marionette Master is not even good with Ritual, right? It makes... Czemu ten Adja nie atakuje? Czego się boi? No chvíví. Like, the servo token doesn't actually help your ritual into anything, it costs 0 mana. Well, that was unexpected. Bunch of chaos. Eyo. This time targeting the spell with Subtlety and doing it the second time. They put the ranger on top. Crazy. Harbinger? No. Oculus. Jeskai energy with ranger. Captain of EOS. Or just ranger of EOS. So normally Culling Ritual should be alright against Boros, I would guess. The Harbinger maybe doesn't seem great, but I always say that, and then maybe it is good. Endurance shuffles back Flage. Doesn't seem that great. This deck is such a blast to play and watch. I'm playing a build in the Dutch Open Super Qualifier tomorrow. Good luck in the Dutch Open Super Qualifier tomorrow, Krezoro. Harbinger also a anti-combo with Calling Ritual, so let's cut it. Endurance duże dupsko ma, dobrze chroni tutaj. Duże dupy. Endurance'a. And we're going to register random cards. Cut random cards during sideboarding as well. Keep. Scared Foundry. Maybe I should keep 4 Subtlety on the draw. That would be probably wise. Will they cast my ritual? Just graveyard it for Oichulus anyways. Wow, those arts. This is rough. What do you mean? Chat, is this rough? You have trouble processing the arts of my cards? Discuss. No. Black Splash is good also for Orcish Bowmasters, maybe. Perhaps. Do I shit my pants when my opponent flips a Johnny? I think the answer is yes, I do. To prevent pants shitting, we're just gonna take... Dobra. 100 do mordy. Pał. 5 damage'a z Planeswalkera za 2 many. Na pizdę. I see. Actually, you know what? We're gonna cut Flare of Daniel in the matchup. Just keep 1. I have lost my sub role in your Discord, and linking Twitch again did not help. Did a mod remove my role? Are you subbed? You are. What's your name in the Discord? Mods should not remove your role. In general. Yeah, I don't know. I'll try to fix that later. Or maybe try subbing again. You know, sometimes you have to sub and resub. Simply. Very cool. Now they know my hand. They seem not to worry too much about the Culling Ritual though. Also kept a one-lander on the back of Surgical. I see. It all makes sense now. Uj, co tu zrobić? Let's blink the Coiling Oracle. Draw a stink into Stupor. And play a tap land. IRL, this sync is in my sleeve facing Soporific Springs face up, and is absolutely getting put into play by this Coiling Oracle. Opponents being able to sideboard is always nice in rough matchups. It does also seem like their mulligan button broke, or they just indeed were so blinded by the power of Surgical Extraction and they were like, yeah, I will cast this. Maybe they've seen that their hand was a one-lander and they thought, I have no lands. I would really like to draw lands. Therefore, my opponent assuredly has in the same spot and is looking for even more lands. So, let's prevent him from getting lands. I co, mam rytuować? No chyba jo, co? Chat, if this was an EDH deck, I would not be able to play Culling Ritual. It will be forbidden just on the basis of the fact that it adds black mana, which is a crazy thing to get hung upon. Yarok Coiling Oracle. Sounds like a good commander for my deck indeed. This deck seems pretty bad. Oh yeah, it's so bad, chat. Oh, 3-2, like I will barely 3-2 this league. Probably will go 2-3. The wins I got lucky, the losses I was on the regular part of variants. If you're looking for a deck for Antwerp, I can't recommend Simic Ritual. No. No good. No good, no. Is Grazer terribly bad in this? Rams gets eaten by Ritual for 2, blocks well into Ragavan. Grazer is a pretty bad card in general, except for decks where it's Giga broken, but those are rare and they play 30 lands. But maybe it's worth trying, maybe it's gonna be fine, but this is not a deck that supports Grazer well. Like, the Stupor, you could play normal lands over that if you want to. But it's still a 23 land deck. Maybe I want to fetch a basic forest with the Misty. You're looking forward to the dual commander league you promised after this? Gdzie? Kiedy? Co? Jak? Jakie promised? Padre Eterno? No. That's my answer to you. Does Blue-White Control even play Counterspell anymore? They only play Silence Chant Scam now, I see. The Essence Flux looks actually really good against removal. Like if you have an Oculus and you can Essence Flux to protect it, that just sounds giga OP. And it's just a cheap card in the deck that lacks cheap cards. Seems way better than Charlotte's Agent. But I guess Charlotte's Agent is the 2-for-1 creature that we were looking for earlier for rituals to like chain off. Very good blue-white control matchup with this deck. I can see that. Oracle evolves into an Oracle. Probably Battle Balls also not having the best showing. LOL. Lamau. I agree. Endurance against blue-white control, not good. Harbinger. Oh, probably fine. Mystical Dispute. Pretty good. Forsen. Sure. Subtlety. They will have Solitude and Planeswalkers, so it seems pretty good. Yeah, it's a ritual deck. Alright, let's trim Harbingers. We're gonna have one. Everything else is good. New All seems good for Simic Ritual as well, does it? The deck is mostly good at drawing cards. The All can let you spend mana to draw cards even harder. Maybe it's good enough on rate, but conceptually it doesn't seem to add anything important. Well, intimidating 1-9-9-3 in that case. I will be avoiding Teferi from turn 1. I'm avoiding currently. It's pretty hard to avoid it though. I subtlety and they replay it and I say, not good. Primeval Titan so we could hit it off Birthing Ritual with Riddler. Oh kurka. Let's get Undercity Sewers now. This time we hit them. Riddler with Essence Flux. Dobra, jolo, zrobimy to next turn. Worst case, I lose my, they counter my Essence Flux. So really there's no worst case, right? The worst case is a 1-for-1. The best case is pretty good though. No! Worst case, he plays Narset. You see this card? Subtlety. Did you spot it in my hand or was it invisible to you? O nie, konsultacja w 3 kartach. Chat. My modern opponent just played an anticipate. They pitched the Fairy Time Raveler. So if I sub this, they probably have another Teferi. So I probably would rather just Subtlety the Teferi. That or they just, you know, don't have more white cards, which is also possible. And they would prefer to do that for me not to draw than to play the Teferi. Not clear that they should, but maybe they do prefer that. I guess the Teferi bounces the Riddler and I have a shit ton of cards and they have, well, 2. Dobra, chuj. Drugiego Oculisa i tak nie zagram. Będzie git. Chłop się tu zesra przecież. Udało się stargetować? Udało. Zajebiście. Okay, with Teferi we can Riddler and Flux. Narset. Może być. They put the Soul on top. They seems like they failed to find a white card, maybe. Wow. No to chuj, drugi. A chuj, drugi. Będą jaja. 2 Riddlery, co ziomek zrobi. Za turę 3. Bakamitai. Dobra, Ouphe out. And what's the best solution to Capichon? Seems to be Force of Vigor. Hercules Recall.